Welcome. This is a meditation. There is no right way to be here. You may sit alert and fold your arms, deciding whether it is good or bad. Or you may let it wash over you like an ocean. You may close your eyes. Your mind may wander. You may take your shoes off, as I have done. You may eat French fries. They're very good. You may even sleep. I mean to disarm you so that you might remember the lost parts. But how to begin? Imagine this. You are a human. Your eyes open. You awaken to the urban din. Light whispers above the blinds. Faint recollections of a magic lantern show dissolve in the afterimage of sleep. You part the blinds, and there are birds. Tweet, tweet, how sweet. The day unfolds before you. You make the bed, polyester blend. You brush your teeth with a silver brush, contact lenses disposable, thumbs opposable, blink twice. Yawn. You were not made for the morning. You have a matcha. You shave your bald head, nape of the neck to the spine, the upper lip and the chin. Foaming cream and aftershave, you moisturize. You shower, hot water, tea tree, steam. You gather your things. To be an artist is a mathematics of bags. You pack a change of clothes for when you are ready to change. You take the train all the way to Manhattan. And then you take it all the way back to Brooklyn and all the way back to Manhattan because you have an 11 a.m. tech. But it's okay because you really like Jean, Ann, and Steve. They're very kind and helpful and easy to work with. You touch base with Tristan, the pianist, who is also your friend, who you adore. You test the mic. Yes, it's working all right. Soon, guests arrive. You talk to them. Tell them about your day, how you got here. The audience listens and waits. Waits for what? You don't know. For something to happen. For a song, maybe. You want to take them somewhere without going anywhere. You ask them questions. How did you get here? How did you know where to go? Did you look at a map? Did you look at your phone? Did you stop at street lights? How did you know that red meant stop? How did you know that green meant go? Who told you so? Did you take the scenic route? How might the crow have flown? What about a stone? Did you get lost? How did you know that you were lost? And how did you become found? Are you still lost? Yes, we got a few yeses in the audience. Me too. You are here. How did you get here? Could you have done it with your eyes closed? The Arctic tern can travel 3 times the distance between Earth and the Moon in her lifetime, without visual cues with which to navigate. The leatherback sea turtle can voyage thousands of miles in the uncharted ocean, only to return to the beach where he was formed. Dragonflies continue migrations that began generations before they were born. How? I can feel it in my bones, whisperings of cryptochrome. Sing a song to get me home underneath the moon. Whenever I am lost at sea, cast away from memory, wondering who I'm meant to be underneath the moon. I can't see the shore, can't remember what it looks like anymore, or where it was before, underneath the moon. How do birds know where to go without a guide to tell them so? Nothing but the evening glow underneath the moon. How do swifts find their way in storm and thunder gray? Why do Penelopes stay when wayward kings are gone astray? How does Odysseus find his way underneath the moon? Underneath the moon. Have you a map in the heart of your palm? Have you a compass to guide you along the long and winding road? Hey ho, wind blow to the rhythm below. Have you a North Star? Have you a lighthouse? Have you a hymnal, a horizon? Row to the rhythm below. Have you an Icarus or an Ithaca? Have you ocean sailed? Have you a map in the strum of your bow? Row to the rhythm below. Wind blow to the rhythm below. Show me where to go when I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go, I don't know. How did the cell know to become two? How did you know how to become you? How did the universe bloom? Do asteroids know too? How does Arctic swift know to move so swift from pole to pole? I can feel it in my bones, whisperings of cryptochrome. Sing a song to get me home underneath the moon. do terns and turtles traverse vast swaths of ocean on sweeping voyages toward ancient horizons and homecomings? Sensory biologists have observed that many animals possess an uncanny ability to navigate using the Earth's geomagnetic field. The magnetic sense is famously difficult to study because the Earth's magnetic field is extraordinarily weak, and it is the only known sense to operate without an obvious organ. Like other apparitions and spectral phenomena, magnetic fields can pass through organic matter without interruption. The sensory apparatus required to perceive magnetic fields could, in theory, exist anywhere in the body of a living organism. It could live in the beak, or the brain, or the feet of a peregrine, or it could vibrate across the entire anatomy to enable their epic peregrinations. For now, sensory biologists believe that a tiny photoreceptor is responsible. Cryptochrome. Found in the eyes of birds, these photoreceptors form light-dependent radical pairs, which I can only understand or explain to you as quantum molecules that dance in microscopic duet, transforming magnetic information, the stuff of physics, into biological signals sent to the brain. Imagine this. You are a hawk, soaring over the wine-dark sea. You collect the salt wind in your wings and let it buoy your flight. You are a large, heavy land bird, so you cannot stop to rest or feed on the water. A single degree in the wrong direction could mean the end of you. Lucky for you, sailor of the air, you are an avian compass. The world unspools before you. The landscape vibrates with frequencies that radiate ecstatic noise across your visual field. Maybe you see a bright pulse of light, a radiant point on the horizon, a north star invisible to the human eye. Or maybe the sea is strewn with cerulean hues like thumbprint clues underneath the moon. You tilt, and the world writes itself before you. You sense minuscule gradations of intensity, a persistent magnetic wavering, angles at quiet wavelengths. You tilt, and the world writes itself before you. It is a queer orientation, an ancient directive that sings inside, whispering where to go. Cryptochrome. You tilt, and a horizon pools at the edges of the earth. Land ho! It has been long since your last supper, and it is time to feed. You scan the grasslands for any signs of movement, and then you spot him slithering beneath the bush. You strike, a tussle of scale and feather. The slither snaps back, but you slice his mortal coil between blades of grass. He writhes, then withers in your talons. You are a hawk, soaring over the verdant grasslands. A snake, tortured in your talons, sings the dawn of supper. And then it all happens in the decade of an instant. Heat, violent and sudden, up your leg, across your feathers. The water in your cells explodes and turns to steam inside you. Muscles spasm, plumage ignites, a wing tears, and you, doomed bird, avian Icarus, you fall and shatter like glass. The grass is dry and lit in an instant. The wildfire blazes 40 acres. When they find you in the eye of the blaze, you are charcoal remains, yet you still cling to the snake coiled in your keratin claws. They will look up and nod. Ah, yes, it was the power lines. Again, live wires strung across the sky, and they will sigh. But how did we get here? How to begin? You are a snake. Your forked tongue is not so much to taste with as to summon a sense of scent in stereo. Your tongue swivels like an arrow. You waggle your head from side to side, picking up on chemical cues. The world is awash with the gentle stench of supper. You follow a mole, tracing chemical pathways into underground avenues, and there you snatch him. Your belly is a graveyard. The mole will bathe in the acid swamp of your stomach. You can go without eating for months. But here's the catch. It takes time to digest a mole, and you are vulnerable. This is when the hawk catches you. But how did we get here? How to begin? You are a mole. Your nose is a fleshy star of a sense organ containing 25,000 sense receptors. You have the remarkable ability to detect sense underwater. You paddle your forepaws and propel yourself through the murky blue. You inhale little bubbles and register the odor molecules trapped within. You follow them to their source, a cluster of dragonfly eggs ripe for the taking, not yet nymphs. When you have had your fill, you return to the nooks and crannies of the earth, your natural settlement. You navigate pitch-black tunnels, touching everything in your path to guide the way. You are blind. The depths of the earth are chasms of root, soil, and sediment, a world of texture, grain, grit, and gravel, enfolded in total darkness. What is there to see? No, your nose is the instrument of odyssey. You are the fastest eating animal in the world. When you come upon your next delight, it takes you mere milliseconds to identify and decide whether to consume your findings. But things that eat can also be eaten. Snakes can wedge themselves in nooks and crannies other species cannot reach. You sense his vibrations, but you are backed into a corner, and he lunges. An elegy for the mole. An elegy for the snake. An elegy for the hawk. An elegy for escape. You were on your way, and then there was fate. Or was it chance? Or consequence? Sooner or later, every odyssey ends. Unless, of course, you are a dragonfly. You are larval beginnings dislodged from the base of a submerged rock. You are carried down a stream, never to see your sisters again, too soon swallowed by a mole. You have the luck of some larva to endure, and you become a nymph. Ha! To be a nymph blessed by the gods. The kingfishers cannot spot you in your digs at rotting wood. You feast on passing worms. And then you shed your skin and emerge, soft tissue, bristling with potential, rippling lapis and emerald. It is time to move. You flit from an island near the equator, thousands of miles north to a Midwestern plain. There, you lay your eggs and you die. You are a dragonfly, an egg that becomes a nymph. You will never know your mother, but she left a map for you etched in slime. And then you shed your skin and emerge, soft tissue bristling with potential, rippling lapis and emerald. It is time to move. You flit from a Midwestern plain, thousands of miles south, to an island near the equator. There, you lay your eggs and you die. You are a dragonfly, an egg that becomes a nymph. You will never know your mother, but she left a map for you etched in slime. You will save the map and pass it to your spawn on an island near the equator. There, you lay your eggs and you die. Your spawn will never know you, but like you, they will be dragonflies, and they will fly and they will die, and their young will bear the torch. How do you know when to shed your skin? How do you know when it is time to begin? The heat rises like a tide. The sun stays a little longer. Electric signals wrinkle the glassy film of your body into vibrating action. You set out due north across the wine-dark sea, and you are no longer a dragonfly. It is all crackle and buzz. The sky zithers with sound. You are pure consciousness wrought by the wind. The buzz subsides and you descend, whirling downwards into sea foam, careening towards a long-lost cousin, reminiscence of the ancestral insect separated at birth by the gasping crest of the ocean. You are cascading into the depths. You are submerged. Who are you now? We were at a party, his earlobe fell in the deep. Someone reached in and grabbed it. What was it? It was a rock lobster, rock lobster, rock lobster, rock lobster, rock lobster, lobster. We were at the beach. Everybody had matching towels. Somebody went under a dock, and there they saw a rock. Only it wasn't a rock. It was a rock lobster. Rock lobster, rock lobster, lobster. Motion in the ocean, his air holes broke. Lots of trouble, lots of bubble. He was in a jam. in a giant clam. Rock, 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 rock a lobster. Rock a lobster. You are a rock lobster, and I am a rock lobster, and we all rock lobsters. Boys in bikinis, girls on surfboards, everybody's rockin', everybody's froggin', twisting round the fire, having fun, baking potatoes, bacon in the sun. Put on your nose guard, put on the life guard, pass the tanning butter. Here goes a stingray, there goes a manta ray, in walks a jellyfish, there goes a dogfish, chased by a catfish, in flew a sea robin. Watch out for that piranha. There goes a narwhal. Here comes a bikini whale, a lobster, rock lobster, 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 rock a lobster, lobster. You are a rock lobster. You have scuttled to and fro since 100 million years ago. You live in a crevice of rock. At night you scour the ocean deep for urchins, crabs, snails, and clams. You make your way by tasting the smattering of molecules strewn across the sea. Your circadian rhythms are driven by a primordial inner clock. The rhythms are innate, but they are also shaped by magnetic information. Your eye stalk swivels like a compass arrow. You stretch 1 foot long, but you have 10 legs. You scuttle from the coast to the deep, hundreds of miles, searching for what? Release? It is time to breed. You are not alone. There are some 50 of you scuttling together like a rock lobster centipede. Magnetic fields impeded by neither exoskeleton nor seaweed. You huddle like children holding hands in the dark, as though were you to fall apart, you might never find each other again, not even underneath the moon. It is true. You are a favorite morsel among humans who would boil you alive and dip your flesh in mustard sauce. Tonight, you are spared such terrors. Up above, humans lower bait-laden pots from the water surface to the seafloor with rope. These traps are meant for you, but tonight, a whale collides with the apparatus, and, entangled in chains of rope, she drags it across the sea. The whale will die, but you will not. Such is the nature of quantum entanglements. You are a whale. Your song can travel 10,000 miles. The sea conducts it like an orchestra. You make map-like models in your mind, tracing topographies of sediment and crust in sound. You are the oldest living oceanic cartographer. You travel in the longest known animal migration, 10,000 miles round trip. Journeys only your songs have traveled before you. Your song is a homecoming. It spreads across the ocean like an electric current, humming the great blue unknown, whispering caverns and valleys, horizon and home. It is an echo of what it once was when it pooled inside your mouth and throat. But it is still your song. Like all good stories, it begins with a nymph. Echo was a nymph who lived in the mountains. Her tongue was gold and flowed like a fountain. She loved to sing of lover birds and other words that flew like birds. She talked to the rooster, talked to the rain, talked to the dragonflies, and everyone she came across. She always had so many stories and songs, stories and songs. And then one day he fell out of the sky, an eagle in his eye. He listened to her tides and wiles. Tweet, tweet, how sweet. Lover birds and other words echo. far away, the queen of the clouds found out. See, the eagle was her husband, taking other lovers. Hera was a queen who lived up in the clouds. She cursed the nymphs so no words would come out, except the very last words spoken to her mouth. Echo. Echo. Nobody could understand how Echo had lost all command of her words, which used to fly like birds. Echo was a nymph who lived in the mountains. She watched the lover birds with envy and doubt. The rain forgot her, the rooster crowed of the morning, the reaper had not sowed. And then one day he fell out of the sky, a shimmer in his eye, so handsome she could cry. She fell in love and sorrow fell away. But Narcissus was in love with the river, or rather just the mirror of himself. Between an echo and reflection, he chose his own affections. Echo. Echo. Echo was a wind who hollowed out a woman. How many heartaches can one woman hold? How fast dissolved her bones? Only her voice remains without the veins. Nowadays in caves she calls back, echo, echo. Echo was a wind who swept into the sea, whispered to the whales and tried to help them see through the dark. So was her fate to help whales echo locate, to constellate and navigate the sea. Echo was a lighthouse, Echo was a siren, Echo was a compass and a horizon. Even when we cannot see, Echo sings back melodies. Lover birds and other words, how to get from here to there, from any place to anywhere, when we don't know where to go. And echo draws us home. Echo. 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 You are a whale. Your song is low and resonant, your frequencies slow in their stride. The ocean cannot hide revelations of a humpbacked dirge, facsimiles of the sea. Somewhere off the coast of Bermuda, a human is listening. He is a Navy man on a top secret mission. But when he clasps the headphones to his ears, he hears not Russian submarines, but hydrophonic fugues. He hears you. A strange species of landlubbers on two legs will attend to your concerto. Your song will be shuttled into space on a golden disc to distances beyond the reach of an echo. And the birds here sing sweetly in mountain and dale, but there's no bird in Greenland to sing to the whale. The birds here sing sweetly in mountain and dale, but there's no bird in Greenland to sing to the whale. Mountain and dale, sing to the whale. You are a bat. You chuck the skies with pulses of sound that ricochet, snap, and whirl. An echo returns, teaching you the shapes and textures of the world. What is it like to be a bat? Not what would it be like for you to be a bat, but what is it like for a bat to be a bat? If I were a bat, I would swoop around haunted houses and make such a ruckus as to constitute an eviction notice. I would derive great pleasure from flapping my wings because I have always wanted to fly. I would feast on the blood of evil men and turn my friends into benevolent vampires. We would envelop the world in our bat wings. But a bat is a bat. How is that? We are on a journey from land to sea, becoming and wandering as living things big and small and everything in between. We want to know how the creatures know what they know, how they know where to go, and how they get there when they know. But you may be wondering, why do you want to know? About bats that are not blind, star-nosed moles that are, ways of sounding out the world in sense and song that sometimes sound like nonsense. It is difficult to pinpoint what it is that I mean when I say you are a human. No two humans are the same, nor two whales, two bats, not the whole of Noah's Ark. Sometimes we forget anomalies, things we cannot see, things that defy the usual patterns that define genus, order, species, class. flightless birds, flying mammals, deaf deer, blind chimpanzees, a mountain lion with teeth on his head, a frog with an eye inside her mouth. There are outliers in every kingdom. Imagine this. You are a human, a workhorse at the academic stable. You work hard and you play even harder. You lock eyes with boys at dim-lit house parties because you love to make out with strangers. But soon, the night becomes a haze. You can no longer see across the dim-lit avenues, nor the house parties where eyes used to look back at you and beckon like lips. You go to an ophthalmologist. A syringe laps up your blood like a vampire bat. 6 months later, you are living on a different continent, among dragonflies and spiders. Your parents call you to tell you that you have a rare form of macular degeneration. You look this up and you learn that there is no cure, that sooner or later, everyone with this disease loses their sight. You read this, and among the palms and banana leaves, you resolve to focus on other things, like conquering your fear of spiders by coming to appreciate the artistry of your neighbor, the orb weaver. You are far away from home. Nature can be cruel. You have seen the videos. When a slow gazelle is taken down, the others do not look back. They run for their lives. But maybe culture is more forgiving than nature. And maybe nature is an art beyond the hunt. Maybe you can be more like a star-nosed mole when you sense the boys across the room. You don't need eyes to touch their lips or find your way around their hips. It takes years for you to come to terms with what feels like a world fading before your eyes. But you realize that you have to be like a magpie, collecting these visions like shiny objects that you must transform into art. And so you return to your myths. Dionysus, Odysseus, Icarus, and you fall in love again with Tiresias. The blind prophet Odysseus unearths in the underworld, who lived in Thebes as both a man and a woman, who whispered the fates to Oedipus the king and danced the rites of Dionysus. You fashion yourself after the blind visionary who foretold the future in birdsong. You decide, if you cannot play the hero, you will play the sage. You are looking for a different kind of story, one that reads more like a murmuration of starlings whirling and twirling quicksilver in the sky. You are a human. You often dream about flying, and you wonder, what is it like to be a bird? If I were a bird, I'd fly until my heart gave out. And when my heart gave out, I'd fall into the sea. If I were a bird, I'd sing until my heart gave out. And when my heart gave out, I'd become a melody. And if all of the birds were finally free, and if all of that freedom was beating in me, if I were a bird, I wouldn't have need for words. But you are a human without wings, subject to gravity and longing. And so you long and you learn. You learn that most birds are tetrachromats with 4 types of color sensing cone cells. You are a human and you only have 3. You learn that this extra receptor does not just widen the spectrum, but unlocks a whole new dimension of color. Impossible shades of ultraviolet reds and polyphonic blues. You learn that we might be able to see just 1% of the colors birds can discern. You learn that the light we see is only 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum, but a sliver of the vibrating universe isolated to the single moving point of a human subject bound to a pale blue dot. But the birds see more than you, and you wonder, what prismatic, kaleidoscopic hues? If you could speak the language of the birds, could they describe these colors to you? Could you imagine a bird's view? The ophthalmologist tells you to wear sunglasses and hats to protect your eyes from UV radiation. But you wish you could see ultraviolet, not just renderings of ultraviolet patterns translated to the colors we can perceive, but the colors birds and bees can see. You learn that there are ultraviolet patterns woven into flowers, seductive invitations to pollinating birds and bees, chromatic visions only they can see. You learn that cryptochrome in Latin translates to hidden color, the invisible light that guides us home, cryptochrome. You learn that flowers have electric fields, and the bees can sense their signatures. You marvel at this astonishing art of interspecies seduction in erotics of pollen and seed. You learn that orchids mimic the shape of bees that might love them. You learn that some bees have gone extinct, that others are on their way. You learn that the orchids may face a similar fate, dependent as they have become on eons of cooperative evolution. And you learn that the shadows of extinct bees are left behind in orchid anatomies like memories. The orchid sang to the extinct bee. I have no eyes, I have no limbs. Long ago you were my kin. I long to know how to begin again. I have no eyes, I have no limbs. Long ago you were my kin. I long to know how to begin again. When my petals met your wings, we did unspeakable heavenly things. You made me come alive, and then you went and left me spent, taken by the breeze. I am ultraviolet, electric bloom. I am a shadow, I did it all for you. I did it all for you. I am the nectar, you the collector. I got seeds to go around, pollen for you. I had fallen for you. I'll be singing ballads as tender as twine, waiting for your love songs to sound as sweet as mine. Honey, 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 I'll remember you for all time, remembering the time when you were mine. I did it all for you. I did it all for you. Did it all for you. Did it all for you. When the wildfire burns, you burn too. But how did we get here? How to begin? You are a hawk soaring over the urban din, and then It all happens in the decade of an instant. Pressure, vertical and sudden, crack of old bones, fuss of feathers, no longer hawk but smithereens. And you, doomed bird, avian Icarus, you fall and shatter like glass. You are a cell, you are a swirl, you are a sponge, you are the world. Chordata, amphibia, reptile, mammal, fur, fists, tongue, enamel. Hominids howl, humans follow. You are a human. You have an idea. It strikes like a light bulb before the metaphor exists. The idea itself is the origin of the metaphor you invent, the light bulb. The idea spreads like electricity. The idea is, in fact, electricity. You build telephone lines that stretch from sea to shining sea. It all starts with an idea, a spark. The wildfire blazes 40 acres. You are a human. You make your way to the site of the fire. Your gaze grazes the barren landscape stripped to charcoal bones. A forest is not grown overnight, but overnight it burns. You reach the eye of where the fire was, and then you see them, hawk, still clinging to the remains of a snake. You look up and nod. Ah, yes, it was the power lines again. And you sigh. But we must rescue what we can from the fire. Imagine this. You are a beetle. You make your way by tracing the wisdom of the Milky Way. You sense a distant heat. Far away, a fire blazes. It is time to eat. The horde flies toward the fire, and you have ecstatic beetle sex. A coleopteran orgy for the ages. Baby beetles awaken to Beetle Eden and feast. Or imagine this. You are a serotinous pine cone, a pyrophytic seed pod sealed in resin. The only thing that can unlock you is the heat of the fire that blazes around you. You break open, and the earth regenerates with pine. Or imagine this. You are a hawk soaring over the wine-dark sea. You collect the salt wind in your wings and let it buoy your flight. You are a large, heavy land bird, so you cannot stop to rest or feed on the water. A single degree in the wrong direction could mean the end of you. And then you are lost. No telephone lines or skyscraper windows, just lost, thousands of miles from your ancestral pathways. You are what biologists call a vagrant bird. A bird that has strayed or been blown from its usual range or migratory route. But what if you are not lost? What if you are responding to a world in flux, charting new cartographies for your species, a lone agent risking your feathers to weave new ways forward for yourself and your kind. Your world has been irrevocably altered, lands, skies, and seas. You stray from the flock to forge new avenues, new adaptations, to stretch the whole vault of heaven. You are an avian vagrant, an accidental, drawing new maps, etched in slime, intuitions refined, whisperings of destination and the divine. You are flying over Manhattan, where you do not belong. How did you get here? How did you know where to go? You are a human at Joe's pub. Maybe your eyes open, or maybe they close. Somewhere up above, beyond the sky of ceiling, birds are flying. North to south, east to west, wherever they are going, however they will get there, they are on their way, and so are you. You are a human. You gather with other humans to imagine what it is like to not be human. You imagine living like things across the globe that scuttle and swim and scurry and soar. You dream on grandmother dragonflies and the giants of the sea. You imagine what it is like to be them. You imagine what it is like to be me. What is it like to be you? You tilt. And now I want you actually to look at someone else in the room who is not me. And imagine, just for a moment, what is it like to be them? Why did you come here? What did you imagine you might find? Do you think you will leave the same or different? Where will you go next? How are you going to get there? And you can keep imagining, but you can also stop if you want. Empathy is hard work, people. Imagine this. You are a human. You open the door and you are home. Maybe you ask the dog to bark the whole history of the block, an encyclopedia of scent. Maybe you open a cupboard and ask the fruit fly what is her favorite kind of fruit and what is it like to taste with her feet. Maybe you go outside and ask the pigeons, what is it like to sense magnetic fields? Are they scattered across pigeon vision like bird shit splatter paint? And maybe you reflect on something the writer chose not to mention until the end of the meditation, which is that humans too possess cryptochromes. And maybe you wonder whether cryptochrome is a quantum art we call intuition. Those moments when you just know where you must go. I hope that when you leave and make your journey home or wherever else, or maybe have French fries with me up in the bar, you might feel the faint whisperings of cryptochrome. whisperings of cryptochrome sing a song to get me home underneath the moon. And in the moonlight, the edges start to fade. And in the moonlight, I am new shapes, new forms, new shades. And in the moonlight, I am no longer blue. And in the moonlight, I dissolve into you. I am like a bird, and soon I'll fly. I am like an orchid. I have no eyes. I am like a whale when I become the sea. I am echo with your melodies. I am like a bee, set sail on a nectarine. I am like a beetle, waking from a fever dream. I am like a dragonfly, the way I live and die. I am pine cone, evergreen. And when the fire comes, I'll become something new. And when the fire runs out, I'll become something new. And when the fire comes, I'll become something new. And when the fire runs out, I'll become something new. Thank you all so much for coming. Yeah, really appreciate your being here. It's such an honor to be at Joe's Pub. Oh my God. Love it here. Have us back, please. If you want to stay up to tune, is that a thing? Up to date with our upcoming projects, you can follow me on Instagram at whoistiresias, Tiresias, and also Tristan, who is an amazing composer and puppeteer, etc., at Audio22. And our next project is Underworld Uncanny Valley at Mahala, Berlin on August 17th. So if you have friends in Berlin, please tell them to go. There will be big puppets. So anyway, thank you. Mwah. Oh, and we'll probably have a drink in the library if anyone wants to hang. Although I should offer a warning before you hug me. I have the very last vestiges of cold, so hug me at your own risk. Thank you.